So, part two, because I had to cut that one short. We gotta learn to trust our own intuition, nobody else's. And this 12-year cycle is pretty much mostly about that. Yeah. I think I did make mention in that series, Corrupting the Aura, that the church that y'all, see today, it's pretty much still in the business of slaughtering people. And pretty much that's what their annual crusades are about, okay? A crusade is a massacre. And with, a lot of activism where human rights are concerned and, life preservation and, stuff like that. A lot of the physical massacre has been, not really ceased. It's not been ceased, but it's been, swept under the carpet and, put behind many veils of illusions. But what you see with your own eyes is a lot of spiritual massacre. So a lot of people in the churches, they are spiritually dead. Okay? And that is why they reject, neglect their own intuitions, and they trust so much in these so-called ministers, these pastors, and these bishops, and these the whole church clergy. Okay, the church in Montego Bay that's been highlighted in weeks gone by and still even now, it's not the only one. All the churches are like that. And if you're going to point out the red flags from that particular church, you're pretty much calling out all churches, because that's how all these, church members are. They worship, they glorify their pastors. Have you no eyes to see, no mind to perceive? And the church is such a toxic and dangerous environment. I've spoken about my own experience. I was grown in the church. I only left the church since 2016. And which is, rightly so for me, to have had that experience. Being up in the Synagogue of Satan. That's really what, these, churches are. You gotta go and listen to that video that I did, titled the Devil, Lucifer, and, God frequency. You've been bitten. You gotta go and listen to that, because it's very important that you listen to that. Because I remember listening to a video. It was really the audio that I was listening. Well, it was a video. I was actually watching the video. By Bobby. I think it's Bobby Emmett. And it was talking about briefly religion, and who we perceive to be the devil and God, and how surprising it's going to be for a lot of people to realize that, just paraphrasing, that who we thought God was is completely different from who he is, and the devil. So a lot of people, they had the devil as God and had God as the devil. And that's going to be like a huge shocker for a lot of people, and that's coming out within this 12-year cycle. I spoke about my own experience with my, dysfunctional family, the dysfunctional family that I came from, not my dysfunctional family. Because my family, they're my sons and myself. And how they played an active role in destroying my marriage, trying to take away my sons, going to the courthouse, the police stations, making false police reports that I am of unsound mind. And this is the kind of things these religious nutcases they do, these Christian people they do. They have this, hunger for control. And they want to zombify everybody. We gotta all dress the same. We gotta all think the same. We gotta all act the same. And so the whole C-19, curfew and, restrictions is really good. Even the whole Vaseline mandate is good because that's taking away their freedom. The same freedom that they try to take away from the collective of humanity. And they don't see it that way. They're like, oh, you can't force us to do this. Oh, you can't stop us from worshiping on, a Sunday by locking down the place. But they want to force the collective of humanity to live how they want us to live. And then they spread this propaganda that they're being victimized, which is so absurd because they're the villains. They're the most prejudiced group ever. Veils of illusions, like I said. Toxic, dysfunctional mothers manipulating their children's lives. And if you don't want to live how they want you to live, if you don't want to study what they want you to study, they pray for your death and your demise. It happens a lot of times. A lot of young people have died at the hands of their own religious nutty parents. Specifically mothers. I'm just being real. Because I see that the feminine energy is so more susceptible to, the illusions. Rightly so, water frequency. Way more susceptible to the illusion that, the Synagogue of Satan, or the congregators, the clergy up in the Synagogue of Satan they cast. And it was, revealed to me years ago. I've spoken about this many times, how they've played, an active role in the demise of my marriage. And they were so happy. It made them so happy. And I thought to myself, how can people be so cruel to find pleasure or to gain pleasure from the demise of other people? I thought that to myself. And they think they're right. They have all right because they're gods. They tell themselves they're gods. Because, you got to do what they want you to do. Even if that means you suffering. And I remember calling her pastor, my dysfunctional mother's pastor, and talking to her, because there was a point in which I would, when I was away from here, trying to find a peace of mind, trying to get away from these devils, and I would try to call to talk to my sons. They would answer the phones. The phones, the landline, and her cell phone, which it got to a point in which I stopped calling her phone. And I just started calling the landline. And they would answer the phone and they would hang up. They would open the line and I would be talking, no one would be answering. And then they hang up. At times, it's as though they knew I was calling, they would not answer the phone. They were trying to put a gap between my sons and I. So They try to take away everything that I love, which is what the devil and Lucifer does. Try to take away what you love, to afflict you and to hurt you and to break you down. But you got to be strong. That's how you defeat Lucifer, and that's how you defeat the devils in your life. Two different frequencies, but toxic frequencies, casting different illusions. But nonetheless, none of them illusions are for your greater good. And when I told the pastor that she was trying to put a gap between my sons and I, didn't want me to communicate with my sons. Mind you, they were telling my sons all kinds of toxic shit about me, which, didn't do a thing. They love me just the same. You know what the pastor said? And I even went on to mention their active role, like I said, in the demise of my marriage. Because we were all up in the church, my ex-husband and I, and our sons. And you know what the pastor said? She asked me if I just realized that, if I just discovered that. And I was a bit shocked, but not so shocked. I thought to myself, wow. I actually even said it to the person who I was involved with at the time. And he was like, that does sound eerie. That does sound weird. That's such a weird response. And then I realized, and then I started connecting the dots. Oh, it was a huge plot, a setup to destroy me. Because that's the devil and that's Lucifer. They're opposing frequencies. They oppose what is balance. They oppose what is light. What is true light. When I was in the church, I'm just not someone who's easily influenced. That's just me. I do my own thing. I naturally, innately trust my intuition. If you listen to a lot of my videos, I tell you how I was born enlightened. Not tooting my own horn, but it's the truth. I've always been seeing piranhas. I've always felt different. I always knew I was different. And when they were like laying hands in the church, for some reason, that never affected me. I wouldn't get in a fit like everybody else and act all crazy. And they knew. They knew I was different. They knew I was special. And they thought they had to destroy and break me. I spoke also in, some videos, more than one occasion. That's why I said videos, in which I actually had a vision of that dysfunctional mother of mine. She, coming to an apartment, that my, ex-husband and I, we once occupied, us and our sons. And I saw her in the vision where she went into the bathroom and she put a purple mark on the wall. It was meant to cause shame and disgrace and, homelessness, just the Job-like experience, to get people to question me. Oh, you're wicked. That's why you're going through that. Mind you, Job went through that shit. And the Bible said that Job was blameless. Job was blameless. It's actually after 12 a.m. and you hear the ruckus outside, the noise. It's so crazy. I thought there was a curfew in place. And there is a police station in this community. But it was to, for people to question. And let me tell you, she had a field, dragging my name through the mud to everybody and anybody who was at her frequency and who given a listening ear to her, talking shit about me. Mind you, the scripture says love covers a multitude of sin, but she spared me no she gave me no benefit of the doubt. She didn't spare my name where that's concerned. And then they say love covers a multitude of sin. Adding to that, a lot of what she said about me was fabricated to tarnish my reputation, to get people to perceive me in a manner, a way in which that I am not. And so I already know what the church is about. It's a whole heap of toxic people doing a whole heap of toxic shit. It's nothing new to me. It's nothing, strange when I heard about what happened in Montego Bay. Might I add, there's all these churches, they're doing that shit in some way, shape, or form. And you just remember when they're praying for your demise because you refuse to see things their way. That's also a form of sacrifice. When they break your marital, connections, your relationships, your marriages, that's also them, sacrificing your happiness, sacrificing, what it is you love. Those two are sacrifices. When they wish death upon their children or their husbands because they won't do what they want us to do, that's also a form of sacrificing. You bear that in mind as well. So there are levels to this shit. I remember, one of my sons saying to me, Mommy, I think one of your sisters are jealous of you because you have 2 sons and she has no children. I'm not going to say which one of my sons said that, but those boys are smart. And I have no doubt in, in them, I don't doubt their love for me. I have no doubt in, their intellectual prowess. Irregardless of all the things they've spoken out against me, my sons, they have nothing but adoration and compassion for me. As a matter of fact, it affects them. It hurts them to see their mother going through it. It literally makes them cry. They don't hate me. They're not angry. They're sad for me. And I tell them, don't be sad for me. Don't be sad for Mommy. Everything's going to be all right. Everything will be all right. It's good over evil, always. At all times. We gotta go through the trials. We gotta go through the fire so we can come out as pure gold. I be telling people the true church is not yet. Just as, your true twin flame is not yet. After you've been through the trials and the persecution and you've had your Job-like experience, then the bridegroom cometh. Then Christ puts in his appearance, Behold, he cometh. Behold, he comes. New Jerusalem, that place that he's gone to prepare, that city on a hill that cannot be hid. But first, this has to be destroyed, which it is being destroyed because it is a part of the loop. This false church, the false twin. I spoke about this. This is just a recap of what I spoke about. Just go and follow my Funny Kusi Jokes on Instagram. Listen to my videos. Also on the Grey Witch YouTube channel. Because a lot of the videos, not all of them, are on the Grey Witch YouTube channel. And so you don't need to, try to justify yourself to the people who you love or who loves you. Because the truth is, love does cover a multitude of sin. And that's how you know when people, they love you and when they're really jealous of you. Because the people who really love you, they don't go, yapping, and telling the whole world where you fall short. Your shortcomings. Where you fall short, where you're weak And they don't fabricate shit either. They love you just the way you are. And they allow you space and room to grow and to evolve and to grow into who you ought to be. They allow you to be who you want to be. They don't dictate to you. It's not a dictatorship relationship. It's not. That's toxicity. The whole dictatorship frequency. People are so concerned with controlling other people. What they do, what they see, how they live. And they pay no mind to their own lives. It's like finding the speck in your brother's eye and paying no mind to the big old fucking mole in your fucking eye. The big old mole. Mole, 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 mole. Like, Austin Powers said. Mole, 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 mole. Not paying any attention to the mole in your eye. You're paying attention to my little speck. You continuously speak about the things that I've done 15, 20 years ago. But what are you doing right now? I'm not the same person who I was 15 to 20 years ago. How can I fucking be? If you are at that same frequency or at that same place, having that same mentality that you had 15 to 20 years ago, you're not growing, you're stagnant, and that's a call for concern. Because we gotta go with the flow. So I always, refer to them, on several occasions as the wicked stepmother and the ugly, trifling 3 stepsisters. Because that's pretty much how it's been for me growing up, dealing with them. And, that's why I sleep outside. I've spoken how they've attacked me, physically assaulted and attacked me, because I was speaking my truth. I wasn't using profanity, I wasn't shouting on top of my lungs, but because what I said really hurt them, because it was the truth. And my toxic, dysfunctional mother who claims to be a Christian, I was taking a shower one Sunday morning, and I'd, come from St. Mary, because I was, staying in St. Mary at the time. And she dragged me, she hauled me out of the bathroom and started attacking me naked. And I was trying to ward her off in defense of, to protect myself. Why are you attacking me? And instead of coming to, pull us apart and, to pull her off of me, because pretty much she was on me, the oldest one and the younger one, the one who follows me, who looks way older than I do, I'm not trying to be shady, but that's got a lot to do with shit. They joined her in attacking me. And my 2 sons, they were so traumatized. They were like crying for me and shit. And that too is, another reason why, ever since that day, I decided I'm not going to sleep in that house. I'm just not going to sleep in that house. I just don't trust them. You have no control over your feelings. You're jealous of me. And, you have no control over that jealousy. I don't trust you to sleep in the same house with you. So I'm not going to sleep in the same house with you. And that's why I sleep outside. I feel so much more safe. I feel way safer sleeping outside. That's something, isn't it? It is. They joined with, my ex-husband to try to, keep me stuck, keep me at a certain place, to try to hinder me from moving on with my life, though he supposedly remarried. The court document says you're supposed to pay me child support to, take care of her children. But because you just want to sabotage me, or so you think, you decide to give her the money. My toxic mother, my dysfunctional mother, who doesn't want to see me have anything. He's now without a job. And that's something I prophesied. That may seem contradictory, as though it's not to the benefit of the children, but in time it is. In time it will prove beneficial because it is a lesson for him. You cannot go up against the mother of your children, especially when she's not a drunk or a toxic mother, like a drunk, a junkie, someone who is like a crackhead and stuff like that. I've always been the best mother I could ever possibly be for my sons. They were the center of my world. I focused solely on them. I focus solely on them, especially when they're around me. And you plot against the mother of your children. You don't love your children. You cannot possibly love your children and to scheme and plot against their mother who loves them so. He's now without a job. And that's something that I knew because he was hiding it. But the truth had to come out. And it's a punishment for him. Because I was with him when he was nothing, when he had nothing. He still is nothing. I'm just being honest. And, I suffered much with him. I encouraged him to do the right thing. Not to become toxic, not to, become overly concerned with wealth and stuff like that. But when you got a good wife and you don't listen to that good wife, you gotta trust your intuition first. And if you got a good partner with you, around you, then the truth is your intuition will guide you to work with them and possibly listen to them. Is he that findeth a wife? And not every woman who wears a ring on her finger is a wife. Well, let's just say for argument's sake, he that findeth a good wife findeth a good thing. A lot of people, they don't know what is good, so we won't even get started on that. He became really toxic. He started doing a lot of things that weren't right. On top of that, he started, becoming, he started, cheating a lot. He started cheating and he started doing a lot. And then he started drinking, he started smoking. He started doing it whilst going to church. He was very, very much abusive. Verbally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. You think of it. I had to get away from him. And it's me getting away from him that angered the devil. He's one of them devils who I've come across. And so he decided to scheme against me with the other devils and the Lucifers who I came across, who I actually grew up amongst. I actually grew up amongst, or grew amongst. Actually grew amongst. So I know what the whole church business is about. I know what's like. I've been there, done that. In all my years, being in the fake church, let me just emphasize on that. I've never seen a righteous Christian. I've never seen any of these people practice what they preach. Ever, not ever. I'm not being prejudiced. I'm not saying this, to be petty. It's the truth. And that's what really led me away from the church. Because I've been looking for that agape love. I've been looking for that, true and authentic love. And I never found it in the church. And the more I traverse life, it's the more I realize how right I was to have left. It's the more it's the more I see how toxic it really is. It cripples society. Because it destroys the base of society, which is the family. A lot of families got broken within the church. A lot of marriages. A lot of children got broken within the church. Let's not even start talking about that. A lot of these, churches have been slaughtering and sacrificing people. It's been happening for centuries. Like, physically slaughtering people. Outside of the spiritual slaughter. Taking away, their essence, their souls, their vitality, their right to be individuals, their intuition. That's that spiritual slaughter. But the physical slaughter, it's been, going on for centuries, for so long. But now, in, they call the modern age, all of that's been, swept under the carpet and been masked by veils of illusions. But all of that's being, exposed within this 12-year cycle. All that's in darkness is coming to light. That too is, a major aspect of this 12-year cycle. So there's a lot more to, be exposed in regards to, these, massacres and, sacrificial offerings by these churches. If you follow Rios network, Pt2's own is an Indian network. They have a YouTube channel, WION. If you look under some of my astrological prediction videos, you will see I put link to some of their videos, synchronizing with, a lot of my predictions. They actually, revealed, the truth about a lot of this. There's this particular church in Canada in which, I don't know what led them to excavate the property, but they discovered a lot of, skeletons on the church property. And majority of those skeletons belonged to children. Children. And the people in the area, they were so angered. They literally lit the church on fire. And it's not the only church. There are other churches in Canada and the United States. I believe there are churches in Jamaica just like that. If you, dig up their properties, you will discover skeletons. And I'm not talking about their cemeteries or their, their graveyards. I'm talking about massacres, hidden massacres. But that's what the church does. The illusion of the church, the false church. Remember what we're talking about here. So, domes have eclipsed, All now is seen. Okay? Don't you give in. Hold on to this. Hold on to truth. Hold on to justice. And justice is truth. And vice versa. Namaste.